Good morning, beautiful people. I hope we're all here again. Hi, Georgie. I see you. I hope they're not hanging on that broken. I'm hoping that they're not at that other video that I was doing. I think it's Florida heat, guys. Hi, guys. Good morning, everybody. Again, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to wait a few minutes before I go into what I was saying, because the Florida sun did cut me off. I was filming from the iPhone, and the iPhone, as people know, gets too hot, and especially in Florida when it's about 100 degrees here. And then you have the iPhone working by videoing, it makes it extra hot. So I think we got cut off. Yes, so here's the deal. We're going to wait just a little bit to get a few more people back into the chat. I'll go over it. I won't get into any anecdotal stories about why I think Melanie Gibb dressed inappropriate. She didn't follow a kind of a courtroom decorum way of dressing. And, we're all different. So let her wear hot pink to court. That's her prerogative. It just didn't look too good, in my opinion. Okay, that's just my opinion. I'm going to share with you that I have worked in the court system quite a bit throughout my decades. And one of the things I have done is prepare people for court. Not only have I prepared people for court, I have prepared people for legislative hearings, judicial hearings. I have prepared people not only in their testimony, but also in the way that they present. And Melanie Pawlowski did not do us a favor last Tuesday. Yeah, it was a teenage, yes, you can say aggressive, Mel Mac. You can say aggressive, but it was really showing how juvenile she is. And what I'm going to tell you in just a moment on how stupid and juvenile she can be is this. For one thing, let's put it this way. I'm on the prosecutor's side. Obviously, we all are on YouTube. We want the people nailed. So this isn't taking the star witness from the prosecution and throwing mud at her at the midnight hour. We have all seen that she's a loose cannon in her mind. We don't know much more about her than it is very evident from the many interviews that the woman is a loose cannon. You do not know which way she will bend. If the wind is blowing easterly, does she bend easterly? If the wind is blowing westerly, does she? I think so. So with that said, I want to share with you that this isn't about damning the star witness, because she is the insider and she does hold keys. But we have the right to not like the character of the star witness. And this is what I'm about to explain to you, where there's a major character flaw. And I know John Pryor, the attorney for Chad Daybell, has seen her character flaws and has tried to address them. He used it in court. He said, does she have an auditory problem? Again, don't want to sound like I know everything, but I know a lot about auditory processing. It's something in my family because of hard of hearing, because of deafness. Part of being deaf is having auditory deficits. So with that said, he he has gotten a good insight. And I got a right there talking about hot pink. Can you see that swimming? This right here. Someone left their swim thing, and it's got some pink in it. It's a life, jacket. It's a young girl's. It's a teenager's life jacket, and it's got hot pink on it. But more importantly, hi everybody. More importantly, what I want to say here, and this is where I'm getting to, and I've asked this before. If you were in a boat with Melanie Gibb, and there was a hole on the bottom, would you look to Melanie Gibb to do the right things to keep you safe while that boat was sinking? I think we all know the answer to that. Hell no. No one would be looking towards Melanie Gibb as the commander of the boat to get you out of there. Yes, you'd be crying and you'd be needing your depends, because you know that she would sink you before she would get you up to the oxygen. So we all can admit she's kind of not the girl that you want on your side when you need saving. But this is more important. I'm not sinking in the boat. I'm actually sitting on concrete in the pool surround. So I don't need Melanie Gibb. You guys don't need Melanie Gibb. The only people that need Melanie Gibb is the prosecutor and the victim's family. They need Melanie Gibb, even if they hate to love her. Even if they hate to love her. And this is one of the reasons they might hate to have to love her. It's almost like the Stockholm syndrome. You know that when you're kept captive, the whole Stockholm syndrome is about when you're kept captive, like someone abducts you and puts you in a dark cellar, and once a day they come in with food and they feed you. You end up loving to see that person. You end up, your mouth salivates when you hear the door open and you know it's your captor is coming in, because you know that person's going to be feeding you. So it's the same thing. Do we hate to have to love her? And do we have to love her because she is... I'm reading this thing. Jesse says, they have much more evidence than Melanie Gibb. I hope that she was a small part of the evidence. Pryor will do his best to impeach her, make it look like she has a motive to kill Tylee or JJ. Possibly, Jesse. I did hear those underpinnings in the probable cause hearing. Yes, Jesse, that's a very good point. But I'm on to something just a hair bit different here. And this is what I want to talk about before the rest of YouTube gets it and disperses it out like it was their big idea. We got a lot of big ideas on YouTube. And really what it is on YouTube, guys, I'll say it over and over, there's ransacking every day. They come in and ransack your channels. They hire people to come to listen to you, or they have volunteers. They come and listen to you. They take the pinnacle ideas. They run with them. They wait a little bit, not too long, but they wait a little bit, and they make those ideas out to be their own. So with that background in YouTube, yes, there's a lot of people that do not too nice things to other people. But here we go. I got my coffee, Owie Ranger, as well, right here. I'm going to take a sip. I'm only going to try to make one point to you. And I know I'm elongating this, and I'm elongating this for a reason. because we had a lot of people in the chat before it went down. I do not think it will go down again because I'm not using the iPhone. I think the iPhone overheated, and that's when you saw that buffering sign. So I think we're pretty safe. Okay. The night that we're going to start, this is the start. We won't even use dates because we all know it's true. We all know it happens. I don't want to mix up dates. So I'm going to just tell anecdotal stories that I heard from Charles Vallow's mouth. I didn't get these anywhere else. I didn't invent them. I heard these stories from Charles Vallow's mouth from the the body cams that the police were wearing. So he's off on business. He's living with Lori, Tylee, JJ, and Zach Cox at the time. So he's off on business. While he's gone, she clears out, meaning Lori, she clears out his house. She takes everything, including any of his personal items, whether it might have been his toothbrush, we don't know. She cleared out everything, right? This is the night. He comes home. His truck isn't at the airport. It has been taken. He has to call his bishop from his ward to come pick him up at the airport. And then he asks his bishop, he says to his bishop, I'm so petrified to go to that house on my own. I'm going to call the police because I need kind of an escort. I need a police escort because I don't know what she's up to. She's so out of her mind right now that I'm scared to go to my own house because what will happen to me there? This is what he's sharing on the police cam. This is what he's sharing, obviously, with his bishop. He's saying she's walked over to the edge and she's hanging off. She's gone crazy. He says, I don't know what has happened to her, but the past couple of months, she's gone off the deep edge. So there we go. We got the scenario set. He's at the house. The bishop's sitting in his car. Charles is on the sidewalk talking to the police. They're body camming Charles and his words. He's saying to them, she is threatening to kill me. I'm scared for my kid. I'm scared of what's happening to her. There is something very serious wrong with her. She thinks she has godly powers. She talks about the 144,000 and that she is a leader and that she has armor on her that she cannot be touched. So he's saying she's petrifying me. I don't dare to go in my own house. Would you help me do something? Here I am standing in front of my own house. They ask him, is anyone in the house? He says, I don't know. No one's answering their phones. Okay. So the next thing is, the police help him break in. They break into his own house. He goes in. I hope he got a good night's sleep. I'm not sure, but I can only hope. But the very next morning, he knows that she'll be dropping JJ off at school. So he goes to the school, and as we have heard, somehow ascertained her purse. He's gotten her purse. So the deal is, he's got her purse. In the purse or around the purse, he found a cell phone. That was one of many cell phones that Lori had, as we have found out. But he found one. So with that cell phone, he started calling people, looking for the kids, looking for Lori, and wondering what the heck was going on. Why was his stuff stripped from the house? Why was his truck taken from the airport? And where was everyone? And are the kids safe? So he goes around on her cell phone and he starts actually texting people, but he doesn't let them know most of the time that it's him. He's playing it and he's making them feel that it is Lori. And he does this with Melanie Gibb. He sends a text to Melanie Gibb and he says, "Can you come over?" She's thinking that it's Lori. So she, as dutiful as we have seen Melanie Gibb, and as neurotransmitter stop signs that we have seen that she has, she runs over to Charles and Lori's home. She's there at Charles and Lori's home, but Lori's not there. She sees other people. She sees locksmiths and other people at the house. And she said to the officers later that day, she should have ran right then. If she had had her wits with her, if she has wits, if she had her wits with her, she should have run right then, because that was scary. She goes to the house and it's only Charles, it's not Lori. And on top of it, she sees these locksmiths. She's wondering what's going on, all these locksmiths and people that are running around. Where's Lori? Guess what Charles Vallow tells her then? Guess what Charles Vallow tells her then? He said to her, "Melanie, I'm speaking for Charles. Okay, I know he's dead. I know I haven't heard part of the conversation that day between Mr. Charles Vallow and Miss Gibb. But I'm going to tell you, this is what Charles said to her. Melanie, I know we haven't known you that long. I know I don't know you that well, but I know that you've been chumming with my wife. I want to share with you what I shared with the police last night. She's gone over the edge. There's been an extreme change with her in the last few months. Melanie, she's threatening to kill me. The kids aren't safe with her. Melanie, she thinks she's a god. Melanie, she's named me Nick Schneider. The police asked me last night why she named me Nick Schneider, who Nick Schneider was. Melanie, please, my wife has gone over the edge here. Can you help me, Melanie? Can you make any sense of this? Can you appeal to her? Melanie, the cops know all this. I told them this last night, that she thinks she's one of the 144,000 and that she has the powers to kill me and anyone else that gets in her way. He's saying to her, Melanie, please, I love my wife. Melanie, she means so much to me, but my children are in danger. I am in danger, Melanie. Melanie leaves that house. Ends up. No, it's Nick Schneider. He said it in Cowboy. He said it in a video that night with the deputy, with the police. He said, Nick, and I don't care. It could be, it could be Laurie Schneider. It doesn't matter if it's Nick or Ned or whoever, but yes, whoever we care. He told the police everything he told Melanie that morning. He says, I know I haven't known you that long. I know you've become very friendly with Laurie. And listen, I need you. I need you to help me sort this out, Melanie. My kids, I'm afraid they're in danger. I'm in danger. She threatens to kill me if I open my mouth. Okay? That afternoon, she's at the police station because her pocketbook goes missing out of her car. That's how Charles had gotten to text Melanie. He had probably, we don't know, allegedly taken the pocketbook and cell phone from Laurie's car while she was dropping JJ off at school. So that afternoon, it's Melanie Gibb, it's Tylee and Laurie at the police department. They're at the police department. The policeman asked Melanie Gibb at the police department, you go back and listen to it, it's authenticated. Melanie, what did he want you for? She doesn't answer him. She does, and she says, I don't know. But now that I know that he stole her purse and all that, I should have been afraid. I should have been afraid. I wish I never went there. That's how she answered him. My point to you is she's cunning. My point to you is she knew that he was frightened for his life. She knew that he was scared that Laurie had mentioned something somehow in the gut of Charles Vallow's stomach. He had the feeling that she had the propensity to harm the kids. He wouldn't have said that if he did not feel it. She went on, Laurie at the police station did not discuss any of these things that she was threatening Charles with. Neither does Melanie. Melanie has heard it firsthand that morning from Charles, and she doesn't tell the police that. She doesn't go back later. You go back 2 months ago. I made a video where I tell you that she did not make an anonymous phone call to the police and tell them what she was up to, that she had murder on her mind. So when this person wrote me this morning on my comment section from my last video, she told me I was an old biddy. She said to take my knowledge and shove it up you know where. I like that girl. You know why I like that girl? If it is a girl, because they can put fake pictures, they can put fake names. I like that girl because she has my P&V. She has my vinegar. Because guess what? If I thought for a minute that Gibb had no understanding that Laurie was touting that she was going to kill Charles, then I'd be standing right next to Melanie Gibb with that hot pink shirt on every day of the week. But what turned my mind is when I heard that video last Tuesday, the last day of Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing, when I heard her tell the world that she had no knowledge of that Laurie was homicidal. That is untrue. Charles Vallow is turning over in his grave today, listening to the lies out of Melanie Gibb. Charles Vallow, with his own mouth, told her that morning before the police interview in Chandler, Arizona. She is lying, and she is lying. And why does she think, along with Nate Eaton, to think that we, the public, is that supple, that gullible, that incredulously stupid to follow her words? She is diabolical. You know why she's diabolical? I'm going to tell you why. Because she looks sweet. She presents sweet. Yeah, she has a little awkward style of dress at a courtroom. Her decorum was off. Her mannerisms were off. But she still presents sweet. That girl is about as sweet as my vinegar that I have in my soul. That girl is not sweet. And God bless the prosecution has her as a witness. But as you all have said, John Pryor, the attorney of Chad Daybell, the wicked person of the world, he is going to tear her apart for her lies. She tells one lie after another. Charles Vallow appealed to her that morning of the stolen purse. That morning, he called her to his house, and he said, Melanie, she's threatening to kill me. Melanie, she calls me a zombie. She says I am no longer Charles Vallow, that I'm Ned or Nick Schneider. So that is what I am saying, guys. So when that lady got on my comment section from my last good morning, Rebel Rose, love to see you. Now listen, when that lady got on my comment section this morning, you can all go and read what she wrote. It was sometime early morning today. When I say early morning, any time from now to maybe 5 a.m. I don't know when she wrote it. She said that I was an old hag and that I had everything wrong. Yeah, that's what she had said, that I was an old hag and that I had everything wrong. Well, I am saying to her, I love her P&V. Love it. Keep that P&V. I'd rather have you with P&V than with someone like Melanie Gibb who acts innocent and knows more. Melanie Gibb knew that Charles was threatened, that Lori was going to kill him. Melanie Gibb knew in her heart of hearts that the kids might have been at risk being around someone who talked homicidal. If Melanie did not hear it from Lori herself that she was homicidal, she heard it from Charles. And then when Charles got murdered July 11th of 2019, Melanie Gibb, like us all, would be saying 2 and 2 is 4. Charles told me that Lori was going to kill him, and he's dead. Lori told me that he was a zombie, and he's dead. Charles told me that she wanted him killed, and he's dead. Charles told me that he was worried that she'd do something worse to the children, and they are dead. So there is a bunch of baloney out here with these very, very intuitive commenters on my channel. I don't call them nasty. You know why I don't call them nasty? I don't call them nasty. The reason I don't call people who call me an old bag nasty, because one, they don't see me. Okay? So they don't know if I'm an old bag. I am a grandmother, and I am old, but am I an old bag? Okay, 2, They want to put the truth forward just like Pulowski does. They want to tell us, they want to inundate us with the truth, but they forget something. There's evidence and there's facts. Charles reiterated over and over, he put him in the court papers to his lawyer that she was trying to kill him. He put them in the committal papers for community bridges that she was trying to kill him. She put it in the committal papers that he was worried about the children. He put it in the committal papers that she thought she was a god. All of the things that he told the police that first night, that's evidence by the body cams, we can see with our own eyes, with our own ears, no matter how well your ears work and no matter how well this old bag's senses are with me. Hi, Georgie. Hi, everybody. Hi, Diana. So I want to hear you. And I really, if you can, I know you only have 200 characters. Hi, Kevin. I saw you come in. Hi, Kevin. Kevin's my dear friend on here, Kevin Whelan. He keeps giving us some beautiful music to play at the onset. And when I close on my videos here, my live chats, if you didn't hear, this Sunday I announced that I'm going to try to have a live chat early every Sunday morning. I can't tell you the times because I'll be honest with you, I go off and do things with kids. So we might go surfing and not come back for a day. You know, this old biddy gets up on a surfboard on occasion. Yeah, she doesn't do it well. Yeah, I'm not a pro, but I try it. So I can't tell you a time for Sunday mornings, but I can tell you that on Sundays, I'm going to make it a goal to come on live and have a live session because a lot of you have asked me, I need a guarantee when I can listen to you. So that's about the best guarantee I can give you. But I had to come on live today because the woman who called me an old bag and whatnot, that nice woman, and I say she's a nice woman because she's just frustrated. She's just frustrated. Yeah, I don't fish or hunt, Rebel, because I never had that side of me. But you can see I have a dock and everybody else does. You know, they fish and I go kayaking. I have a kayak. It's for old ladies. I'm going to tell you, I bought it from probably a 95-year-old woman. And she had just given up kayaking. And it's a racing kayak. It's extra long and it's extra thin. It makes it very unstable. But I kayak in it. And yes, I get a little nervous here and there. Yeah, Kevin's here somewhere, or at least he was. Or he's playing Possum. Maybe that's one of his new songs, Possum. You never know with Kevin what we're going to hear. Yeah, no, I know. And I am too old for my age. I keep having to remind myself to push through the tired stuff. When you get tired, I keep saying push through it. Don't fall for that old age tired stuff. Push right through it. Whenever someone, oh, hi, Kevin. Whenever someone comes up and says to me, one of the kids, they'll say, hey, can you take us surfing? And I'm like just ready to take a mid-afternoon nap. I look at them and I go, yay, you just got me out of what I'm falling prey to. And I go and I go in the water and I try to surf and I wake up. But anyways, guys, did I make the point? Did I make the point that Melanie Gibb lied in that interview last week with Nate Eaton, saying she never had the idea that Lori was homicidal? It never hit her brain. Well, that could really be a truism, couldn't it? It never hit her brain. we see the functioning level of the brain. So did it not hit the brain? I said this to someone last night, and you tell me if I'm wrong. If my girlfriend's husband came up to me today and said, I don't know what's gone wrong with her. She's gone all over the deep end. She's telling me she'll kill me. I'm worried about the kids. I feel that they're not safe under her care, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. No matter if I've had a relationship with that woman 20 years or 3 months like Melanie Gibb, would that perk my good ear? Yeah, it wouldn't perk my bad ear, but would it perk up my good ear? Would I be listening and would I be looking when my girlfriend has just told her husband that she's going to kill him and that she might kill the kids, and that Melanie Gibb, being an astute religious person, knowing what some of these things meant about being changed into Nick or Ned Schneider? Who's a Facebooker? I'm willing to bet that the girl called you an old bag is the crazy guy, Stacy Norton. He has a Facebook page sticking up for Lori and Chad. No, he was sticking up. They didn't stick up for Lori and Chad. No, I think she's a real person. Maybe not. I don't really, I'll never know. Am I a real person? You guys, really? Who knows? But at the end of the day, she did the right thing. She said, Grammy, you got it all wrong. She said, stick your head up where it belongs. That's what she said in her comment. And so guess what Grammy did? When she told me to stick my head up where it belongs, I got out of bed because that's what I got when I woke up. I got out of bed and I came out here and I said, okay, part 2, we gotta share with the world my ideas that Melanie Gibb lied. Melanie Gibb lied last Tuesday that she didn't know that Lori had homicidal thoughts and ideas. You know why she lied? Because Mr. Charles Vallow, told her that morning when he texted her pretending that he was Lori, and she dutifully got in her car and drove over to Lori's. Lori wasn't there because Lori was in the hotel, and it was Charles. And at that point, he had just been on body cam with the police the night before saying she's homicidal. I've drawn up papers because she's homicidal. In those committal papers, it mentioned that he feared for his life because she was homicidal. Melanie Gibb knew this. So when Charles died, August 11th, where were her antennas? Did someone steal her antennas? Was that preparing up people that stole her antennas? Was it Chad Daybell that stole her antennas? Was it Lori Vallow Daybell stole her antennas? Or was it, as John Pryor suggested? He suggested that she has an auditory processing disorder. Is it because her brain doesn't function to the level of an adult? Is that why, and I'm just being a brat when I say this, is that why she wore hot pink? Was that symbolic of Lori's hot pink lip gloss to Chad? So guys, tell me, was my thinking right that she knew that Lori had mentioned being homicidal? Please put in the chat right now because I can see it. God bless. I can't see chat a lot, but I can see it. I'm not reading it but because I'm talking too much, but I'm seeing it. Put yes or no in the chat. Okay, red, same thing. Bright red, bright pink. Put yes in the chat if you believe, Maureen, if Melanie Gibb knew that Charles was frightened for his life. And that squashes that interview from last Tuesday after the preliminary hearing. You be the judge. So who are we getting taken by? And this lady that told me to put my head, where it needs to go, where it can't see the light of day. I hope she is listening, because Melanie Gibb, as far as this, I got a little questionnaire here, and you've all answered. I haven't heard you. Not one of you have said no. Come on, I got 92 people or so in this chat. Put yes if you think that Melanie Gibb knew from Charles himself that he was scared that Lori was going to kill him. And that's why he drew up those community bridges committal papers, because he was scared for his life and he was scared for the children. 92 people, please put it in the chat. Or am I wrong? Am I stretching too much? So now, you guys, by saying yes, all these yeses are coming up. By you guys saying yes, then what are we saying to that commenter? And we're going to say it in a nice way, because I love her attitude. See, being feisty is good. Being feisty. Thank you, Kevin. I know you're driving. I knew you would say yes, because I know you know how sinister this Melanie Gibb can be. She is not that innocent. She knew that Charles's life was at stake. And that's the only point I'm making. Am I saying throw it to the wolves? No. Am I saying that the defense is going to have a heyday with her? Yes. Am I saying that she has just about zero credibility? Maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm telling you, if I was working with her way back in those, back in prehistoric times when I worked in the courts, in the court systems, I don't know if I'd like her as my client. Oh, who cares? Zalaga hand slap. I don't care if she's rude. You know why? Because we're all rude. We all, you got to admit, we all wake up, and sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. She just could have been like me. Some days I wake up and I'm fit to be tied. And she said it like it was from her perspective. But from my perspective, from my little grandma perspective, Melanie Gibb knew that Lori had the propensity to be homicidal by what she learned from Charles that morning before they went to the police station to ascertain her purse. I couldn't agree more with Rebel. He worried always, I bet, about the children in his life. I'm going to read what Rebel said. So that widow, I think that is why he moved close to Tylee, because he knew how Lori was. Of course. You're talking Joe Ryan, Rebel, or talking Charles? They both did. You know that Charles was staying in a hotel room for 2 weeks before he was murdered. That tells you he was doing a grandma thing there. That's what you learn to do when you do investigations on these types of deals. You stay in the periphery. You never show yourself. You might wear a hat one day with your hair up under the hat. You might wear pigtails with a flowered dress. You might make yourself look like a man one day, a woman the next. You have to stay hidden to see what's going on in the real lives of these people. When Charles was trying to find out what she was up to and how safe his kids were, he had to be secretive. He had to be, doing exactly what he was doing. People have asked me, do you have a private investigation background? Well, I have some of sorts. I've done I've done insurance fraud investigations in my past in a private investigation. And I've done also child abuse investigations, child neglect. I've done male domestic abuse investigations, and they've all been surreptitiously. None of them have been other than going to interview people at their houses. Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. I have belonged to national advocacy groups. I have been on the board of directors of national advocacy groups to protect victims. So I have a resume that's quite extensive, and I'm not fooled or taken in by people like Lori Daybell. Let's put it this way. I've lived around the Lori Daybells my whole life. Yeah, I'm doing it sort of, Georgie. Yeah, it's the same stuff. But I haven't worked around crooked people. Like this YouTube stuff has made me lose faith in the YouTube videos. But I have to keep saying myself, don't look at the criminality in the true crime world. Keep your eyes away from the crime in the true crime YouTube world. Don't look at it. Let them steal. Let them do criminal acts. That's someone else's job. Yes, he went through hell is right. She writes, Joe Ryan went through hell trying to protect Tylee. He lost his income. He probably lost his mind at many times. Dealing with that despicable, sinister group of people that she's always belonged to. Hold on 1 second. I had to take a dip, guys. I was burning up. It's like 100 and probably 2. I don't know. Yes. So yes. So someone asked me the other day, and I wasn't quite sure what the purpose. They wanted my resume to speak. So I'll go over quickly, just to give you an idea of my background. I was a teenage girl in the early 70s, and I worked for the governor of the state. I used to run his press releases. I worked out of his press office. There was about 15 of us in the governor's office. We didn't have big staffs like they may have today. Back then in the early 70s, we had little staffs. So my job was to clip newspapers as a teenager. I would clip any issue that was pertinent to his governorship, and I would, file it and whatnot. And then if there was something hot off the press, I would run all the press releases to the press stations throughout the state. I worked on 3 of his gubernatorial campaigns. I've worked on presidential campaigns. I have swapped parties. I've been a Democrat, I've been a Republican, and I've been a, what is it when you're neither? I can't even think of it. Oh, the old brain cells are coming in. I have worked before regulatory commissions, trying to get regulations enacted into law. So I have worked with many regulatory commissions in states. I have worked on the national level. In as I've said, I've been on the board of director of national agencies that are victim based. I have been an advocate in court. I have gone into court hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times in many different capacities, whether it's children, whether it's men being abused, like in this case, Charles Vallow. I have opened up support groups and been the facilitator for support groups that for people that have been victimized. I have worked for the Commissioner of Health and Human Services as his right-hand man, so to speak, to facilitate the divisions within the Department of Health and Human Service so that they could service their people much more effectively. So I was his go-to person when he needed things done. I have worked on the streets with homeless people, going down riverways, under bridges. I have gone in the middle of the night when it's sub-zero temperatures to tent sites, to holes dug in the snow, trying to get people out of there and into hotel rooms so that they could make it through the night. So I could go on and on because I have a resume that is extremely diverse, but I ain't no dummy. I like saying that. I ain't no dummy. So for that person to call me a dumbwit this morning really got me up. And it's not egotistical by any means. It's just that I have either worked or volunteered, and I have always been an advocate. So, yeah, Rebel. Yeah, I'm not old. Yeah, I'm 65. Is that old to you? Is that old to you, 65? You think I'm pushing the cart in the grocery store, or I'm sitting down because I can't walk anymore? That's like 100. I'm not 100, I'm 65. Oh, hi, Jenny, 67. Yeah. Don't give in to that old age stuff, but it doesn't matter. I explain this. You can find it in the comments somewhere if you haven't seen it. I explained. I'm going to say this real quickly because, this isn't about telling you my life. I'm just giving you some examples of what I've done, so don't call me incompetent. You want to know what my family just did? And I do have private investigators in my family. I have worked alongside the private investigators in many capacities. So yes, I have been a private investigator. But this is more important. You know what I just did in the last 10 years, which, from 55 to 65? You know what? I took down the damn building. And why did I take down the building? I'm going to tell you a very, very short story. In this small town, they erected a big building. And someone extremely close to me read the blueprints to it. someone in my family. And he said, hey, Grams, these blueprints aren't what is built. He has engineering certificates and whatnot. So I said to my relative, what are you talking about? He brought me to the building. He said, see this, Grams? They built this building way too huge. What is on their paperwork, written and in drafts and sketches, isn't representative of the building. So I drove myself up to the HUD office, and I spent 2 days up at HUD, and I went through all of their paperwork, because the building was highly funded with HUD funds. Let's put it this way, our funds, meaning we pay into HUD funds. They're not HUD funds. They're our funds, all the constituents throughout the United States that pay taxes and pay in otherwise. They're our funds. So this building was erected by HUD funds. So I went up to HUD, spent 2 days. They were peed off. They greeted me with the stares that you can't believe. You know the words that this lady said to me this morning? You should have heard the words from these HUD people. They were peed off. You know why they were peed off? Because the HUD was giving these developers, these nice looking fine men, oodles of millions of dollars worth of HUD funds to build a building that was not representative of what they had applied for in their application. So they were scamming. They were in cahoots with HUD. They were scamming HUD, and they were scamming the town that the building was erected in. So guess what I did, guys? Just being me, my little old stupid grandma head here that should be up my you-know-where. I went through all that paperwork. I pulled out all the papers that showed the line of corruption. I brought them to the right forums. I spoke with other people in my family about the corruption that took place in the town. What happened to that building? Tell me, guys, where do you think that building is today that was made with corrupt funds, that bankers were stealing the money, that HUD people were in on the take, that the developers were reaping millions of dollars from? Where is that building today? Thank you, Maureen. Maureen says it got taken down. Taken down. You know why? Because I was unrelenting. What's unrelenting mean? It means I'm like a tiger. I put my teeth into something. You know, if she thinks she's a god, I'm a lioness. I think I'm a lioness. And when you're ripping off funds, and when you're using things in a corrupt manner, and you're not a teenager, and you know, teenagers do bad things. They steal cars, they pocket things when they're in the store. Teenagers do the most corrupt things in the world, but they usually grow out of it. So these are not teenagers. These are grown adults stealing millions and millions of dollars, pocketing those millions, putting in through HUD money. Well, what would Ben, if Ben had been in office then, which he wasn't, what would have Ben done today? That someone was stealing millions of dollars, a developer, you know, big suits on, you know, flashy jewelry, you know, gold shiny jewelry they wear. They have the best old men hairstyles, nice and groomed. and they come into these hearings, and I tell them, you know what I said to them? One of their attorneys stood up and he said, "You can't talk to my client that way." And I said to the attorney, "Okay," because I was telling him he was a thief in so many words, right? I was telling the developer, "You're a thief." And I was saying it quite eloquently, I think. I wasn't demeaning to him. I was just saying, you did X, Y, and Z, and that equals thief. You know what? So his attorney stands up, they're sitting down, and he says, "You can't talk to my client like that." And I said, "Attorney, excuse me, you're in my forum now. You're not in your own. Sit your little bottom down until I'm done talking to your client." He sat down. The whole room clapped. You know why they clapped? Not because I'm gutsy. They clapped because I was speaking for the right thing. It was corruption in its rawest. Developers stealing federal funds that are slated for the most disenfranchised people in the world. So if my resume doesn't dictate a little bit about who I am, and I'm not the stupid old lady with her you know what and the you know what. I like that. The you know what and the you know what. So do I give you time to breathe now, guys? Rebel Rose is right there. Let me see. Good for you, Graham. I wouldn't want you with me, Rebel. Rebel would come in and she'd have I don't know what you'd have. You'd be throwing paper airplanes at them across the room, wouldn't you, Rebel? These developers that look like they just came out of GQ magazine. These aren't little country boys. These aren't little, guys that just pulled a fast one. This is a well-organized corruption. Yeah, that's why I'm hated on YouTube, Shannon. I'm hated. You think one of those YouTube people like me that do crime, but they commit crime while they're doing crime? Ha ha ha. Right, that's right. Rebel says, ha ha. That's right. Good. I'm not trying to flatter you with my resume or anything like that. Because when I really think about it, it's really I've done nothing. This is in all sincerity. I feel like I've done nothing in life. And meaning all the times I wasted time, I wish I was doing exactly what I've told you I've done. I think I could have done double. That's what I'm telling you. But I did have my head up the you know where. So yeah. Yeah, Laura says that the organized corruption is what peeves me off the most as they rip off our tax. Oh yeah, they come in with their fancy suits and their jewelry. You know who bought their jewelry. You know who bought their fancy suits. I've been in those stores in Beverly Hills where they sell those suits. You know how much they go for there. Yeah. My message to the other YouTubers is stop stealing other people's stuff. Stop it. Get your own creative juices. Get your own PI hat on. You see my PI hat. What is it? Red with a yellow. Yeah. Put your own PI hat on. Get your own blood going. Don't come after other people and 2 days later make it. Graham, how are we doing on the Charles Vallow Day? Well, I've written to them, Rebel, and what they told me is nothing can be done or discussed until there's adjudication of the Charles Vallow murder. In other words, a town or a municipality cannot support us in any efforts until they have on paper that it's something different than self-defense. Right now, on their papers, say self-defense. That's why I'm telling you. So there's nothing we can do. The only thing we could do, if anyone lives in an area that you want a Charles Vallow Day law enacted, is you can appeal to your senator. I have already tried to appeal to the senator in the Texas one, and I got a response back because I'm not a citizen of Texas. Their office tells me to go to my office here, which is, gives me a stonewall. I'm stonewalled. But it doesn't matter at this point. The Charles Vallow Day will come as soon as there's adjudication, as soon as we have paperwork or documents that we can take to the courts, that we can take to the legislature, that we can take to any forum in any municipality that we choose to have laws enacted that make it that women can't keep doing this. You heard my presentation on Sunday, I think it was, when I had an open chat. I read you the statistics. Women kill 50 to 60% of their killings when they do serial killings like Lori has done. For the motive is for financial gain. For financial gain. What have we said all along? This isn't about ridiculous religion stuff that's the sidetrack stuff. This is for financial gain. This is insurance fraud. This is financial gain. Yeah. Oh, you know what, Laura Diaz Austin? She should have never had her freedom. My opinion, Lori's the type that should have never walked this earth free. Not a day. Not one day should she have walked this earth free. We all make mistakes, don't we? There's about 100 people in this chat, and every one of you is going to say, I've made dire mistakes. I've done things that I'm ashamed of. She has perpetuated the same thing over and over. She's married for money, married for money, married for money. Then when that didn't get good enough, kill for insurance, kill for insurance, kill for insurance. Rebel Rose, someone broke into my thing, into my YouTube channel, and they took out the moderator and put in their moderators. How you like that, Rebel Rose? Would you be throwing your paper airplanes at them in the meeting? So to encapsulate what I was just told you, I've worked as an advocate. I've worked with law offices. I've worked also with law schools. There was a law school a half a block from me, and I worked in their civil practice unit. So there's a lot of things I have done. So for someone to come on here, and I don't know if they've had my background, but they're not talking about just someone that just decided one day to wake up 2 months ago. I've been on for 2 months, right? So I didn't wake up 2 months ago and then said, oh, I want to learn about this advocacy thing. I want to advocate for Charles Vallow on YouTube. No, he inspired me to. In my simpleton mind, he is my client. Charles Vallow is my client. I never knew him. I only know him from how you guys know him. And then it doesn't matter. He is my client in my mind. I took on the charge way back when, in probably January, and I methodically watched and listened and investigated the data on him. And yes, I might have came across papers that just recently were put online that were illegal papers that were being disseminated online just in the last month or so. I might have came across those papers, but I might have just put those papers down, right? I mean, there's an example of what a person does. They don't do things that are criminal to get. I'm not saying that you're not going to, in the dark, when you know someone's sitting in their backyard, you're not going to dress in black and go sit next to them and they don't know you're there. I'm not saying that's a private investigated tool. That's something different. Is that criminal? That can borderline on stalking. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you're doing things for the greater good, then you have a place to stand. But when someone comes on and does an interview and says, murder? I never heard that Lori was homicidal. I never heard. Oh, wow. How did you people get this idea? Oh, no. She only talked about getting rid of bad spirits out of people's bodies. Do you believe Melanie Gibb? When Charles was touting that to the world, he was telling the police, he was telling the community Bridges mental health, he was telling his pastor, oh, I got a hornet. Oh, shoot. And I can't be bet. Oh, darn. Hornet, go away. You don't want my coffee. Hold on, guys. I got to take a dip. Oh, I got 2 hornets. Okay, it's gone. Okay, so, yeah, when Melanie Gibb gets on live last week with Nate Eaton from East Idaho News, and she tells us this big fable that Lori had never mentioned that she was homicidal, or she had never knew that connection. She didn't put that connection together. She is full of manure, malaka. Malaka is the Greek word for BS. She is full of malaka. She knows that Charles was telling the world that. His own lawyer got online and told us so. You can watch the video with Charles's lawyer telling us that he had never had a client that was so scared for his life. She is a BSer. And she is twisting. She is making the prosecution look poorly because she is their prime witness on the civilian side. But with that said, is it the civilian side that we need? Or is it the professionals? Do we need the digital? Do we need the actual archaeological findings? All of the stuff that they found, or, the dirt, the soil, the fire, the tape, the instruments used to sever Tylee. Friggin'. I don't know what that is. Just push decline. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm going to take a dip. It's 103. Okay, I'm back. Hey, so that's it, guys. I guess I've rambled on. I kind of gave myself a heat headache. Oh, do you see that, Duck? I gotta show you. So now you guys can chat because. Okay, you're welcome, everyone says. Okay, so that's about it. That's about what I'm telling you. Texas, we are not used to the heat over here. Oh, of course you are. Yeah, total limp lettuces. Oh yeah, I get overheated. I have to do these lives in my bathing suit because I take a dip before I come on live every time. And then I obviously have to take a dip in between. But you get my point, everyone. Melanie Gibb knew that Lori Vallow was threatening to kill Charles if he got in her way. It was spread all over. He called her that morning. She went and talked to him. She did not disclose that to the officers that afternoon. She did not call them. So far, we don't know that yet. Do we know if she called them back? Do we know if she called them and said, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to give you a tip. She was lying to you. She said this, and this. She's going to kill her husband if she gets in the. Maybe she did. Maybe that's what we don't know. But in the meantime, from what we know, is that she knew that Lori was threatening to kill Charles. Texas, you must be used to the heat then. I live in Spain for 15 years, but can cope with the heat now that I'm back in the UK. Oh, yeah. Texas, I was there last year in, what town was it? Oh, it's right outside of Houston. I went there twice. And I was in the heat. I was in the heat. Waller. That's what it was. Waller. Waller, Texas. I've told Kevin this. If you ever go to Waller, Texas, it's northwest of Houston. It's about 15 minutes out of, the downtown Houston, I guess. Maybe longer, 20 minutes. It has the best food. It's in a meat market. In the back of this meat market are all these Mexican ladies who can't speak English. They just giggle at you and smile, and they feed you all these homemade, delicious meals. I can't tell you what they were because they weren't what you get in restaurants. They weren't the commercial Mexican food. This was home cooking. Waller, Texas. And the sign on the store says meat market. Out of this world, guys, if you're in that area. I do. Christina, you're saying I make everything so easy to understand? I hope so. I that's kind of, I'm not going to say it today. I'll tell you a story about a judge up in Maine. I worked on a case. I worked with a national agency, and so I would go into different courts. Okay, and I worked on a case up in Maine in the greater Portland area. And I'll tell you that story another day, how I turned the case over. That the judge told me right in the live courtroom it was the most unorthodox thing he had ever done, was to turn that case over, because I made him understand. So that gives you an idea. But thank you for that. I don't feel that I'm clear, but I try to make it clear. Texas Gina's 55. Woo, Texas Gina, you're a young pumpkin. Oh, where are you in Texas? Are you in Houston, Gina? Or are you in Austin? Or I've been all over that state. Yes, if you get the real Mexican home cooking, nothing you can order that is in a Mexican restaurant, in the traditional Mexican restaurant. This isn't that type of food. It's their home cooking. Thank you, Kelly. But keep watching the others on YouTube. I'm not saying all YouTubers that do crime are bad, but I will say that I've caught a lot of crime on YouTube, and I've caught it. That's all I gotta say. That my eyes are used to it, and I've caught a lot of crime, and I mean crime, not just swiping your material. That's something different. When like today, you can be assured, because I talked about that morning when Charles falsely texted Gibb, making her think that it was Lori, and brought her over to his house. You can be assured that if I wasn't saying this right now, there'd be many videos about it in the near future. That's swiping. That's something different. But I'm talking about criminal acts, like criminal acts. There's a lot of criminal acts on true crime channels, and they do not like me. Yes, Laura. But I was wondering, I'm a chef. I cook traditional. Ooh. Are you Mexican, Gina, as well? Or are you Italian, Gina, with that name? I'm saying that because your name infers Italian descent, and it can be Mexican descent. I'm just interested because I have a friend in Texas named Gina. But you would, yeah. I look at a lot of other channels, but usually only comment and chat there. No, go to the other channels and then enjoy yourself. You don't have my eyes, and no, you know what I mean? Like, I see things you guys don't see. And maybe it is because I've been in the business of investigating crimes and researching them. Like, I don't make the judgment in one split second. I don't say, hey, this person's committing a crime. I investigate it. I make sure that I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Yes. Oh, right, Monique. You're 100% right. And she's contradicting herself, Monique. She's contradicting herself. Gibb is doing these media blitz, and she contradicts who she really is. No, you're not a saint, Melanie Gibb. You lied to a police officer. You lied to a police officer. I don't know about you guys, but I've worked around them my whole life, but I still respect them. Even though I have been friendly with them, and I've worked around them on many cases, and I've outreached with them, meaning I've walked on the streets with them. I've gone down the alleyways with them. I've teamed up with them. and I like police officers, but I have this like dutiful idea about them. You never lie to law enforcement. You never lie to law enforcement. Like that's like in me. Like you can't take that out of me. So I don't know how she felt she could lie to law enforcement about the welfare of children. Now, was law enforcement going to hurt her children? Was that the motive? So you got to look at the motives. Yes, I can. Yeah, Maureen, you didn't have to tell me that. Yeah, you know, yeah. I just happened to have a friend in Texas. Her name is Gina, and she's half Mexican and she's half Italian. So that's why I brought that up. And both names reflect their culture. I mean, her name reflects both cultures. Yeah, Gina, she's contradicting us, right? So, Rebel, are you still here? Yeah, Rebel's here. I'm Heinz 57. Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too. Hey, Rebel, can you, in the 200 characters? Oh, Rebel, everyone's 5'7" here? Oh, 5'7". Oh, I get it. I'm 5'7", guys. We go from 50 Heinz 57, and now are we 5'7" here? Yeah, how many okay, now that I put a moral trap on you right now. Take the moral trap that I just put on you. I want to know, and this is an honesty. Don't whitewash your answer. Could you lie to a police officer when he came knocking at your proverbial door, asking about the welfare of a child? Could you lie to a police officer? Say yes or no, and be honest. Okay, so the other thing, hi, Kat. Nice to see you, Kat. Hey, the other thing I want to say is a good doobie today wrote in my comments that, let me think about it exactly so that I explain it the way that the commenter wanted it explained. And I might have to go back and read it. Let me think here for a second, because I don't want to do her comment disservice by trying to paraphrase it to you and it not to come out making the same punctuation that she wanted to make in her comment. It was a really great comment. Yes, same with me. I couldn't lie. That's a good way to put it, Georgia. You can lie, but you can't lie when it comes to young children's welfare. Could you lie if the police stops you on the road and he says, "Why did you swerve?" And you said it was because a chipmunk came out in front of me. Could you do that? I think most people could say yes. It wasn't that you were swerving because you wanted to make better time by passing maybe somebody. I think everyone could say yes. We could lie to an officer about a chipmunk in the road, or maybe even a raccoon, right? But to lie about the welfare of children puts it way up there on her ability to not have the same allegiance that most of us, not all of us, have for police and law enforcement in general. Okay? Most of us understand that they do a hard job. We understand that they're not perfect. And we understand that when they come to us for information, that we have like a civic duty to tell them the truth. Forget about your morals. We have a duty to make the officer's job a little easier. Rebel says, I told the truth to a police officer about doing that, and he called me a liar. Only Rebel would tell the truth and be called a liar. I told the truth to a police officer. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. And that happens. And hey, Rebel, that's a really good point. That happens a lot. You have encounters with police. You're straight up. You're saying to the police, yes, this is what happened. The squirrel did, or the raccoon, or the chipmunk, whatever. If you're Chad Daybell, it's a raccoon. If you're me, it's a chipmunk. If you're Rebel, it might be a squirrel. But whatever. Something just ran out in front of me, and I had to swerve. No, it wasn't because I was trying to make better time getting around the other car. Yeah, Slimy. Weber, that's a great Weber. Thank you. Slimy. Yeah, she's very slimy. She isn't my girlfriend. A couple of months ago, I was telling you I had a girlfriend that had the same kind of personality as her. Very religious, very devout. And had some oddities about how she answered things. She's way past my girlfriend now. My girlfriend wouldn't lie like she lies. Oh, I've been with people that get pulled over because they were going 5-10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and they start shaking. And I say to them, why are you shaking? I mean, there's two ends of the spectrum. You got the person that shakes because they're going 7-8 miles over the speed limit. And then you got the person like Gibb who will say, yeah, I had the children. Yep, I did. I gave them back, though. No, she has never said she's homicidal to me. Oh, bull, you know what, Malacca on Melanie Gibb. I have to hate to love her. That's my only saying. I have to hate to love Melanie Gibb. Yeah. She had a thing for Chad. You know, he's a prophet and he has all this wisdom. And I really believe he can see into the future. He can tell if the veil's open so that you can go beyond the veil, or if the veil's closed that day and there's construction in front of the veil, and the law enforcement and the traffic cops are turning you around. He knows all that. Yes, Texas, Gina, 100%. She says all the cops had to do when they went to the shooting of Charles is listen to the call the night before and read the report about how Charles was saying they were going to kill him. That was January 30th-ish. Okay, I think it was the 30th and 31st of 2019. January, when he was making those reports. He also made the report to his attorney that if he was found dead in any capacity, to check out his wife, that she was involved with his death. He also went to Melanie Gibb and said she's She's telling me that she wants to kill me if I get in her way. I fear for my children. There were so many footprints of evidence that Charles Vallow left behind that led up to his murder. There were footprints and footprints and footprints. It's hard to believe Lori would have dropped JJ off in a whole other state, 14-hour drive away, or 4 hours by plane just to babysit. Doesn't even sound realistic. Exactly. Exactly. You're so right, Monique. I elect that we don't listen to some of these fake news that we're starting to listen to. We're starting to hear fake news. You know, it's starting to come out. Melanie didn't know that she was homicidal. Oh my, oh my, oh my. So with this said, guys, I think I've made my point. I came online the first time. I got cut off because I was filming with my iPhone. When it's 100 degrees or more here, the iPhone shuts down. That's what happened. So in that first video, I explained right up to the point of Melanie said that she never saw the clear pathway from Charles being labeled a zombie to the murder of Charles. No, she might not have. She might not have connected the dots. We all know that connecting the dots is very hard for Melanie, so we're going to give her credit. She didn't connect the dots from the time that he was called a zombie to the time he was murdered. Okay, so that isn't a complete pathway to murder. But what is a complete pathway to murder is when I tell you that Charles met with her the morning of the police interview when the police asked Charles to bring back her purse or they would arrest him. You remember those words, that they could charge him. Remember that? They were ready to charge. They didn't threaten Lori for taking $35,000 or his truck or locking him out of his house. They didn't threaten her, but they threatened Charles. That same morning, Charles Vallow, who might be turning over in his grave right now, listening to Melanie Gibb tell the world she did not know that there was a pathway to homicide to Charles. I beg to differ, guys. I beg to differ. It's all a bunch of malaka. With that said, guys, I'm very, very upset with the audacity for her to come on and try to get out of what Charles had told her that morning of January. It was either January 30 or January 31st of 2019. How does she get out of that? How does she get out of having that meeting with Charles? And how does the state attorney get her out of that? Have a great day, guys. As I always say, watch out for the ugly. You know it exists. It's here on YouTube, and it's there in Lori's world.
things I've done. Come back to tell me I've done wrong. The silhouette, that hanging tree, it's not looking good for me. I wonder how I got to here, or where I let it disappear. 'Cause every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. The red lights flashing me to stop. The waves are high, the boat's been robbed. I've been hiding, but I've been caught. Now it looks like there's no way out. And I wonder what else is out there. It's not time to look behind. 'Cause every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. There's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time. Things I've done. Come back and tell me I've done wrong. The silhouette that hanging tree, it's not looking good for me. I wonder how I got here, or where I let it disappear. 'Cause every time I go in the fire, every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the
inside. Ghost in the fire. Look inside. There's a ghost in the fire. Ghost in the fire. Ghost in the fire. Ghost in the fire. Inside. There's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time I look inside, there's ghosts in the fire, ghosts in the fire. Every time. Jesus Christ.
it up right here in the closet.
Did you know you
can actually shut off your fat producing hormone.